Hey all, just wanted to do a cube video here. This is going to be a comprehensive cube video. Going to go in depth with some of these crafts here. There's been some good videos already made about the crafts and how they function. But I wanted to get more in depth with the things that you were able to accomplish with all of just what's here, your tuners, and a basic piece of gear. So I want to start with the gem strength mass transfiguration strat. So most people already know about it, but I'm going to cover it here anyways as I consider it part of the cube. Um, the idea basically is that you throw any and every weapon that's good for your class into the cube, hoping for gem strength and the ability to transfigure again. This allows you to go and do the normal crafting process, swapping up your mods, putting the masterwork onto the gem strength, and then swinging again, hoping to get a high gem quality, item quality, so you can increase gem strength even more. This results in some pretty ridiculous weapons. You look no further than the leaders on the tower board to see some pretty crazy double and triple transfiguration hits. Those are done doing basically that. Now, I want to cover another quick point about that though. So let's take a good 2 to 4 GA weapon, for example. You don't want to just throw them in the queue like you're doing with the other any and every weapon. You want to do the full crafting process on those. In my opinion, if the weapon is a pretty significant upgrade to your class, craft it. Go through the normal process and then transfigure it. Because if you hit gem strength on that, you're going to be using it until you manage to hit the double transfigure. And in some cases, that could take days. It depends on luck. It's a completely RNG based thing. As you guys can see here, I don't have it. I have gem strength, but I don't have a double. I've never hit it. I have got it on this grandfather as well. I don't have a double here either. So it could take a long time. So I highly suggest primarily 2 to 4 GA weps. Probably do the normal crafting process, especially if it's going to be a pretty good upgrade for you and you're going to use it until you get your double hit with gem strength. All right, so mod types. So offensive affixes. Basically anything that's going to help you output damage. Your main stat, weapon damage, attack speed, crit chance, crit damage, vuln damage, stuff like that. This is going to be probably one of your more frequently used prisms, along with, as you can see by my numbers here, 511 offensive, aggressive ones, and 485 protectors. I use a lot more defensive and aggressive or offensive tuners. Then you've got your single resistance one. I want to go very specific into this. I'm glad that they changed the tooltip on it because it makes it a lot more clear now. Single resistance being shadow, fire, poison, etc. It does not affect all resistance. That's on defensive, and it's going to be on defensive every time. So if you're trying to roll for resistance using an adept prism, or sorry, a chromatic prism, you're doing it wrong. To the adept prism, skill and core stat. Pretty self-explanatory. It's going to roll main skills. So, for example, Dread Claws on these gloves. I can basically guarantee that I'm going to get Dread Claws every single time as long as I'm continuing to use that prism. It might not hit Dread Claws on the first roll, but with enough rolls in, I'm going to hit the mod and I'm going to hit it with its maximum value roll. Entropic tuning prisms. I am absolutely a hater of these. I I think that anything that takes away the most powerful outcome makes it so that you cannot min-max your class. Now, I understand there's some people that don't want to gamble some very expensive gear. They want to take the safe route. They want to have a really nice piece that they can use until they're done with the season. I understand that. In those situations, if you really want to go out of your way to use the Entropy Prism, I'm not going to say don't do it. In every other situation, don't do it. Take the risk, take the gamble. If the item bricks, it's a little bit of a farm away to get a new one. Cullion Tuning Prism. So this one is specific to the amulets. Puts on a second mod. So you can see that I've got the Exploiters mod there. This is done before they fix the value, so the value is still screwed up. But I have the Exploiter mod there. That's done using Cube. Put in Seed of Horizon, transfigure item, using the Cullion Tuning Prism. Make sure that this is in the cube before you click transfigure, or you're going to make your item unmodifiable. And then the other two lesser used prisms, I should still use them, but they're lesser used. The pragmatic one covering mobility and utility, and then the resourceful covering resource. This one I use for Wrath regen and maximum resource. So for stuff like the pants here, I roll Wrath regen on there with this one came with it. It's on GA, but I'd roll it on there with that. Same here with the maximum resource. If I was trying to hit it without rolling it on the enchanter, because enchanter is wildly expensive, as we all know, I would use a resourceful. So let's get into a little bit of crafting here. So I want to start with add remove. In this case, if I was trying to do another offensive mod here, my normal crafting process for that wouldn't call for it, but I'm going to use this as an example for it. So if I was trying to do another offensive mod there, what I would do is I would just add my mod. And of course, I've hit weapon damage. We don't know weightings yet. We don't have any kind of clear understanding of them, but weapon damage and main stat seem to be pretty high weighted when it comes to the offensive. And the worst part about main stat is that it has its own core stat prism for it. So it's actually covered under 2 prisms. So it hurts a little bit to mess around with main stat. So back to the point here. So I don't like weapon damage. I can't guarantee that I'm going to keep crit chance. So what would I do here if I don't want to gamble? We're going to lock it. So a neat little trick for keeping a GA on an item is to add all 4 affixes to the item and then enchant them. So in this case, again, I'm looking for offensive mods. So let's go add. You don't want physical damage multi at all. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we hit the willpower. We come over here and we're going to enchant crit chance, but we're going to click no change. Always no change. Even if crit chance comes up here and shows you a value, even if it's showing you the same value, because it will do that. I don't know if it's a bug, a visual bug or whatnot, but it will show you the same value. Do not click a value. Always no change. Replace affix. Now I can freely come over here and without hesitation, I can focus reroll. I can use an aggressive tuning prism. And I can sit here and roll out. See, I've already hit one mod. I hit crit damage multi. I can sit here and roll out anything that I want. In this case, we'll get a little bit more in depth with it. So I have willpower there. So something we can do is we can just remove willpower. It is by itself. There's no other mods there that are in danger of being changed. So we can take an adept tuning prism, use remove. Boom, willpower gone. And then we can come back over here, put in the aggressive tuning prism. And we get weapon damage, because of course we're going to get weapon damage. It's a high weight mod. So now we're at the point again where we can focus reroll. So we've lost the crit damage for willpower. This focus is being a very poor example of crafting. So we've lost it again. So again, we would just come back to Adept's Tuning Prism, remove the willpower, and add a new offensive mod to get willpower again. So yeah, that would be the steps that you would take. The other thing that you can do is just continually focus reroll, and just if you hit the willpower, then great. In this case, we're just hitting the bottom mod every time. There we go. So now we've got multi, willpower, and fizz multi. Perfect. So now this has turned into a great example of what you can do with a cube and a one mod item that's got a locked GA. So now I've got what is essentially a perfect focus for Claw. It's a little bit low on the value side. I can't re-roll it anymore because we locked the crit chance mod, but that's fine. We've got a pretty high value on willpower. We've got a pretty decent value on crit damage multi, and low damage on the shadow side, but that's fine. I would still do the gem strength mass transfiguration on this. If I got this the way it was, I would maybe do a couple of enchants on it and then throw it into the cube and hopefully hit gem strength. So there's a good example of locking a GA and creating a good item. So I want to go over the crafts here. I just did some examples of adding and removing, and then focused rerolling. So chaotic reroll. So I'm going to use the same thing here. This is just my example piece. I don't intend to do anything with it. I know some people are going to cringe that I'm about to break a nice piece. So chaotic reroll. So this is going to chaotically reroll. I can put in a target if I want to, but for this case, I'm not going to. So in this case, we've rolled, actually, that was a pretty nice roll. Rolled out willpower and hit life. So now, if I didn't want to have life on there anymore, I could do a simple remove affix, and I'm right back to square one. I can do another add affix with offensive. We're right back to willpower. Something that I'd like to see them do, weapon damage again. Something that I'd like to see them do, especially when you're doing add removes, is have like a bar here that has the prisms that you can click. You know, I want aggressive prism, I want protective's prism, and instead of having to click this one out, click this one in, it's all just right here. So Blizzard, should you see this little QOL suggestion for you? Okay, so the crafts themselves. So as you saw, chaotic reroll takes any mod, doesn't matter which one, and it will roll it to any one of the other categories. Focus reroll does the same, but it's going to reroll within that category based on your tuning prism. Add and remove, pretty self-explanatory. You just watched me do that. So transfiguration, that is what we all know and love. good old bricking, which is what I discussed at the beginning of the video with gem strength. So everyone pretty much knows what's going on here with transfiguring. I don't think I really need to go too far into that. I've covered mass transfiguration already. Unique power reroll, again, pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to cover this one anyways. I don't have any of the attuned dust right now. They're pretty rare. But the long story short of this is that you can re-roll the value of the base mod on a unique. So the aspect, your evade is now another step and your evade cooldown is reduced by 0.84. I can re-roll that 0.84 value to anything between the 0.6 and the 1.0. It's random. I'm never going to know what it's going to hit. It could take you, it's a 1 in 41. So it could take me 41. It could take me 2 to hit a max roll. In this case, I just wanted these are actually really bad. I've been stuck with these the entire time. I don't really want to talk about that, but I'm happy with the value that I have there for now. So I don't need to worry about changing it, nor could I anyways, because I've already done the transfigure on it. Same thing here. You can roll the mod anywhere between 100 and 120. If you've got attuned dust and you're trying to craft a really nice unique piece, I strongly suggest rolling your aspect to a high value, 90 percentile plus if you can. 3-to-1 transmutation. So this is, again, pretty self-explanatory. Anything that you can put into the cube that could be 3-to-1 will come out with a fresh value. So I'm going to use runes here, for example. You get a fresh blue rune. So this is not something that you want to be doing. This is just me using an example here. Unless you've got a complete overflow of one type of rune and somehow manage to never find a seer, then sure, go ahead. But that's just a little rundown of what that particular craft does. It works for gear too. So if you're doing like, let's say 3 focuses, I want to take 3 focuses and create a new one because I bricked 3. I can do that. If they're ancestral, they will always come out as ancestral. There is no guarantee of GAs though. GAs are completely random as they are when they drop. Recycling uniques. So same idea as the 3-to-1, except you are transfiguring into a new unique. So if I have 3 Litany of Sable, again, the ancestral rule applies. The GA rule also applies. There's no guarantee of GA. You can only guarantee ancestral. I can put 3 of these in the cube and it will spit out a new one that's not bricked, ready to be crafted, ready to be re-bricked again, with completely new modifiers on it. Now this one, upgrade to unique. So this one I actually want to cover, especially for you Dreadclaw players out there like myself. Let's see if we can hit one. Oh, okay, of course we didn't. So upgrading a unique item. Do I have any laying around? I don't. So we'll use this. So if you have, this is actually a good example because then we can show what this does. So if you have a dagger base, I'm using a chest base because I don't have a dagger on me right now. If you have a base, you can remove all the affixes from it and turn it white. You can then upgrade it to unique and you will get it. Of course I got razor plate. You're going to get a unique. So for claw players, for example, you have a 50-50 chance of hitting Litany of Sable. You're either going to get the Dirk, the Rustbitten Dirk, or you're going to get Litany of Sable. It's a good way of skipping Astaroth for, at the very least, Litany of Sable. You're just limited by how many of the materials you have, which aren't that rare. As you can see, I've got 80 of them on me, and I was doing a lot of these litanies, so it wasn't like I was just sitting on them. You'll be able to find a bunch of these, all your daggers into the cube. Use your obols, buy a bunch of daggers at the obol vendor, keep any ancestral ones, remove all the affixes from them, upgrade them. Good luck with your daggers. Same thing applies here. This upgrade to legendary, I've not found, I want to say it's like the entropic tuning prism. So I've not found an amazing use for this. In most cases, if you have a rare, you're going to put an aspect on it anyways. So unless you're trying to chase specific aspects, maybe, really early game, you could use this to do that. You put a rare upgraded to legendary and you get a random aspect, and it might be something that's an upgrade for or an aspect that you don't have. Case uses now, I can't really think of a really great use for it. It's the same thing with the entropic prism. I can't think of a great use for these into the later game. Rerolling a set charm. I don't have any materials for this because I was rerolling set charms like a madman until the day that I stopped playing. But the principle is pretty self-explanatory again. You put a set charm in and it rerolls it. There is a chance that it will reroll like this. So you can get stuff like that. +4 to demonologies and G8 gold drop. This one's better. +4 to demonology, GA fire res. This would be considered a GG charm. This is the only really GG one that I hit. This one's really good, being a poison res one, but you're mostly, for claw players, especially looking for +4. But I would say that most players looking for skills on there are just trying to hit their +4s. So that's what that does. Any charm, doesn't matter if it's non-ancestral or ancestral, will roll within its set and has a chance to hit ancestral and has a chance to hit GA when it hits ancestral. It seems to be a pretty low chance. It takes 50 of this material per roll. I've rolled 5,000 at a time and hit GA twice along the way, just to give a rough idea of how rare it seems to be. So again, good luck with your set charm rerolls. Hope you guys hit yours quick. Crafting a unique charm. So this one's a little more involved. Uses the same material as upgrading a unique, upgrading a white to a unique, and then some of the same that you use for rerolling set charm. So what you're going to do is you put any 3 random unique charms in there, and then an ancestral unique, and it comes out with a charm of the ancestral unique that you put in. So if I wanted a Fleshric Carapace, I could put in 3 random uniques and a Fleshric Carapace, and it would come out looking like that. I would just get a random roll. I mean, it might not look like a max roll, obviously, but it would come out with a random roll of Fleshric Carapace. I'm guaranteed to get that. Just a quick way to acquire a charm if you're looking for specific ones in the unique category, as well as a way to, I suppose, grind for what would be your perfect unique. Amalgamation. So a couple of cool things you can do with this. We'll start with this. You take the boss materials, what used to be the keys for opening the boxes, and create an item from the boss. So I've got a bunch of Zir, for example. So I could create a bunch of Zir pieces, spam them out. So it's just another way of acquiring some unique loot from boss-specific loot tables. The other things you can do with amalgamation, I actually don't have 5 of them right now. I'm not sure I recommend doing this. You have to use armament specifically, and GAs seem to be a little bit more rare with this expansion. So I'm not sure I'd want to use 5 of these to create one mythic. I think I'd rather just want to get lucky and find a mythic and then just run it. But you can use 5 of these and turn it into one mythic. The same rule applies for the yellow ones, the rare ones. So I can turn 5 tribute of armaments into 1 greater tribute of armaments. Now I've got 5. I don't want to do this. I'm going to show anyways, just for the example. I have a second mythic tribute of armaments. All 5 are gone. I want to have my placeholder back. I'll make 1 more of these. The same rule applies for Harmony, for Horadric, for Ingenuity. Same thing applies with the lessers. You can turn the lessers into, as you can see, my Horadric stack is going up. Now, I'm not sure a lot of people knew about this one. See if I have enough here. Should have some sigil dust. So you can turn 5 normal sigils, normal nightmare sigils, into 1 escalation sigil. So for you Astaroth farmers out there that are having issues acquiring escalation sigils, go out, craft a bunch of normal sigils. Keep the ones that you want to farm, like the gold rate farmers, keep the gold reserve and vile splendor ones, and throw the rest in the cube 5-1 for 1 escalation sigil. This can and will come out as ancestral as well. Like I've got this one here. This was a 5-1 result. I got lucky and hit vile splendor. I would have ran that if I had needed gold at any point. The last thing I want to do or show, sorry, with the 5-1, this is something that, again, most people already know, but I'm going to cover it anyways. So you can 5-1 5 grands for 1 Horadric gem. And then you can 5-1 5 Horadric gems for 1 of these. Flawless Horadric. So there's 2 upgrade levels past what is the normal grand level. Again, 5 grands equals 1 Horadric. 5 Horadrics equals 1 flawless Horadric. So you need a total of 25 grands per flawless Horadric. It's a pretty ridiculous number. 175 million fragments for a non-barbarian to fill all slots with flawless Horadric. As you guys can see, I didn't even get there. It's out of control with the as a mostly SSF player having to go and farm Seer's Reach over and over and over again for gems. It's pretty mind-numbing, and I couldn't do it for 7 gems. So yeah, that covers out the cube. The rest of them are just normal rune crafting. The recipes are listed in the tooltips. I don't think I need to put any more time into runes for you guys are able to figure this one out. But yeah, hover the tooltip. It'll show you the blue rune you need, and then 5 rare, 5 legendary. All right, if you guys have any questions about the cube or crafting within the cube, don't hesitate to leave a comment. You can also find me in the Warlock channel in the D4 Discord. Have a good day, everybody.